Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Spartan 1 series. Today, I'm going to be talking about focus, which is interestingly what I like to call selective ignorance. When we're focusing on an optimal outcome, what that really means is that we are essentially deciding on a certain outcome and we are ignoring all other potentialities. When I used to think of focus, I used to think of it as something where you really put a lot of effort into this thing and you're basically just trying to willpower one thing over everything else and you're kind of clawing your way towards something that you want. When I heard it as selective ignorance, it completely flipped the script on what my perception of focus was. And it's a lot more effective because if we think about focus as selective ignorance, it's not necessarily about lasering in and forcing and willpowering one outcome that we deem as the best outcome that we can focus on. Because we always want to achieve, whatever our desired outcome is, we tend to put a lot of importance on it. But when we flip the script and really see it as selective ignorance, we're much less willpowering on one paradigm as we're essentially just removing our focus from all of the other aspects that do not serve that optimum outcome, right? So a good example would be like if we're trying to shoot a three-point basketball, right? A three-point shot with a basketball. And we're focusing really hard. We're like, man, I gotta hit this three-point. 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 I hope I don't mess it up. I hope I don't do this. I gotta keep my footwork tight. I gotta do all these things. That focus can have a lot of strain on it. But if our goal is to simply ignore everything that is not in alignment with that optimal outcome, it makes it a lot easier. So if we're shooting that three-point, maybe we miss a few shots, but we're pulling our attention away from that. We're pulling our attention away from all of the things that maybe aren't working congruently to get us there. Instead of willpowering on one thing, we're pulling our attention away from all of the things that are basically not in alignment with that dream outcome. And what that does is it basically frees up that energy that we can then redirect to that optimum outcome. And remember, we use the 6 higher faculties of mind to visualize that dream outcome, meaning that we have our imagination running, which is a picture, right? So if we're pulling our attention away from everything that's not optimal, that energy is now free to focus on a picture or a visualization of that outcome coming true, right? So in our head, we're playing a mind movie of that basketball going in. Then we're feeling that emotion of basically having that three-pointer get sunk into the bucket. What does that feel like? It feels smooth. It feels like success. It feels like release, right? And then we're also leveraging whatever other faculties of mind we want to that are in alignment with that dream outcome as if it's already happened. Meaning that we may have a dialogue going in our line when we're talking to ourselves. Hey, it feels so great to sink these buckets. It feels great to make three-pointers regularly, right? We're spinning that story so that our whole body is mechanistically moving towards that outcome. And it's a huge shift because it makes focus almost effortless. And it takes focus from a resistant place of breaking through and always pushing to get to that focal point. It takes it to a more of a redirecting mechanism, right? So you have different feedback that's not optimal. You know it's not optimal because it feels off, right? If you try to shoot a three-pointer and you miss, you feel like, it wasn't calibrated correctly. But instead of trying to force and willpower yourself to just hone in, be better, put forth more and more energy, what you're doing is you're just using that kind of gracefully to calibrate, right? I missed that shot. Now what would it feel like to make the shot? You may miss a bunch of shots, but you're constantly training yourself by feeling what it feels like to make that shot. You're pulling focus away from everything that is not in alignment with making that shot, and you're just seamlessly navigating back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until you hit that target while holding a clear vision in your mind of the optimum outcome. So focus really is at a high level, when you're dealing with the higher faculties of mind, a process of selective ignorance, and understanding that you are pure awareness at some level, so you're aware of everything. The only way that you can really pick an outcome is to ignore the other possibilities, re-divert that energy, hold that picture in your mind, talk yourself through it with your internal dialogue, and feel the emotions of accomplishment and success in your body of doing something. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is my video on focus. As always, if you like it, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.